Hi everybody, I am so excited to bring all this information to you. Keep in mind as we go through this, these are the colors that I chose. You can choose any color you want. This is your house, this is your dream, this is your up and away. Okay, but these are the colors that I chose. These are all standard colors. It's going to be red, brown, yellow, white, pink, green, purple, peach, and blue. And then I finished off my house with a high gloss sealer spray. That's totally all up to you guys too. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the fun stuff. Just like any standard cooking show, I've already done all the prep work ahead of time. As you can see, there are some that are going to take 2 colors, there's some that's going to take 1 color, there's some that's going to take 3, based off of how I went ahead and did all the painting. What I found was easier is if I was painting with the peach, I would go ahead and just paint all the peach pieces. Then I would come back when I got to the green and I would do then all the green. If you guys want to bounce back and forth, it's totally up to you. My mom always said, give the laziest person a job and they'll figure out the easiest way to do it. That's me. Okay. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it here in this, but you will see it on the pictures we took for the website. I chose to go ahead and do the window sashes right here, a pink. So these are the colors you're going to pick out for this color scheme. Again, all of this will be mapped out for you on the website, and you guys can look at those even closer. Here is the yellows that I did. And so on. I do want to bounce back to this peach one real quick. You're going to find some pieces I'm going to reference to back sides as well. I did that because of the purpose of us showing these at the shows. I wanted people to be able to see all angles and have it look real nice. But this is totally up to you. So I went on the extra effort on this particular piece right here because you're going to see the porch. I painted the white on the back side of here. And because our house will be hanging from the show, on piece number 15, piece large and piece medium, I went ahead and painted the trim here on the side and on the trim on the back side. So I will be referencing those every once in a while. Here's my pink and green color scheme. Here's my pieces for the purple and green, again with the pink sash. Here is my single colored browns. I'll tell you that because on the roof I painted the back side a different color. And on the little steps for the back porch, I went ahead and painted both sides as well. Here's my red for the brick. Here's my front windows, which is the green and the pink. Here's all of my white pieces. Now, if I had to do a lot of these for an event, which I have done, I've taken the cheat route. I've just gotten me a can of white spray paint, laid all these out, sprayed them really good. You just have to remember to do both sides of the roof candy. And I did both sides of this piece as well. In this particular application, I did not do a spray can because I wanted to do a dry brush to get the grain to pop out, and I'll show you how to do that a little later. Now here's the roof that I was referencing. I did all the front in brown, and then because again our house is going to be hanging, and even if it's not hanging you can still see underneath the eave a little bit, so I went ahead and did the blue on all the pieces that was going to be showing from underneath. And then last on the painting, here is my blue front and my back. Okay? On this side, because you're not going to be seeing, I did not do anything on the back side of that one. And then as you're going, if you feel like you're going to be seeing more of the underside or you guys want to take that extra step, go for it. Now that I've got all my painting pieces done, let me go ahead and show you the dry brush that I was talking about. Just a little bit of white. And I did, if you guys are familiar with my TARDIS demonstration, I did show you how to do a dry brush on that too. Use this blue so you can see it. I just dab the brush, a little bit of paint, and on the other side of my palette I dab it off, or you can even use a paper towel. Okay? So as you can see, there's a little bit of white left there. What I did is I just haphazardly rubbed this on all over. And as you can see, it would look more like an aged window frame, and it let the grain come really through. When I do the spray can, when I have to do a lot of these for an event, obviously you don't get to see this as well. So that's why I like it when I'm going to do an individual house. Right there. Okay, that's my dry brush. So now I have got all my pieces painted. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and find all the pieces with the windows. You're going to have 12 small windows and 2 large windows. So you'd gather up all those pieces. I've already got all of my vellum pre-cut out. And as you'll see on the list, we did 2 that was 1.5. And I did 12 that was 3/4 and 1/4 of the vellum pieces. Now, there's no sense in, you guys can use this different glue. Again, give a lazy person a job. I discovered that the wood glue that you guys use to do your models with works just as well for my vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this piece over. And what I have found works best with the dimension is I just put a little dab of glue, very, very little, because the vellum, it will spread. A little bit of glue right there in the corners. And I just lay my vellum on. Now, any of you crafters out there have worked with vellum, you know that when you get it moist, it starts to roll a little bit. So what I do is I just have, a lot of times I just have a can of soup laying around. But in this case, I'll just use one of the paint bottles. I just put it over it, and I just have an assembly line. I do all my windows all at once with all my vellum. Now, you're going to find, and then that will only take a few seconds to dry. You're going to find in a few of these that the dimensions I've given you may be a little bit too big, because as you see, there's a notch here and there's a notch here. I just figured it was easier to give you one dimension, and then as you come across those, you can make a little bit of an alteration. So as you can see, if I was to use this vellum piece, it would go into the notches. Go ahead and just take a little pair of scissors and just slowly, think about it this way. Measure twice, cut once. So in this case, just cut very little at a time until you get there. You don't want to take a big chunk and you have to start all over again. And then you just glue that on like that. Now we're right basically onto following the directions on the build process. But one thing you need to always remember when you're painting your pieces is when you come to your pieces like this that have the part numbers on them, or anything that's going to have a notch, you want to make sure that if you notice, I didn't paint any of these, because our notches that they fit into are made to fit this pretty perfect. So last thing you want to do is be adding paint onto it that's going to make that wood a little thicker. If that's the case and you forget and you do that, don't worry about it. Just go ahead. You may have to just work a little harder on getting in there, or just take a little bit of a sandpaper and just kind of nook it off. But I just find it's easier if it has a number, don't paint over that number. It's always easier for me. Now again, something else that is subjective is this piece right here. If you look at any of the pieces of an up house, even from the posters or anything like that, it's up, you're looking up underneath the house. Now obviously we have to have a base for ours. So you may want to paint yours brown, may want to paint it green. It's pre-up, it's totally up to you however you guys want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and paint mine green for the purpose of what I'm going to be doing. So I'll do that later on. Another thing is you've got your balloon pieces right here. Go ahead and get this paper. Okay. Now because this is going to glue onto here, I didn't find it necessary to go ahead and paint underneath there. Again, you can arrange your balloon colors any way you want. But because ours is always on display, and you may have yours on display too hanging up, which means it could turn, I took it one step further and I painted the back side. So what I did is I just flipped it over, blue, blue, peach, peach, and so on. Little trick. When it comes time to doing this yellow one, what I did was, as I just painted, I got a glob of white paint. I've already painted my blue, green, peach, and orange, and pink, sorry, and put them into the angles that I wanted them on. And then I got a glob of white paint, and I just painted the back side of my yellow one, pre-gluing it on. And with that on there, I plopped it on there with the white paint on it. I lifted it up, I let the white paint dry, and then I had a perfect angle for how I wanted that yellow balloon to be painted out. All right. I think that's everything. I'm going to go ahead and get this built. You guys come by and see me at a show, and let me know what you think.